course, import substitution, and I'm very glad to see that Labor have come out and supported that exploration plan.
Darian Fenton.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. I want to take the opportunity to wish you a very happy new year and all of my colleagues in the House, and also to congratulate the Honourable Michael Woodhouse for becoming a Minister inside Cabinet as well. I haven't had the chance to congratulate Sam Loturinga, but I will when I get a chance. Now, Labor's come to 2014 in great spirits, and I think we're seeing a huge contrast between the two parties, or the other parties in the House, and the national government. And no more was there that contrast evident than in the State of the Nation speeches between the National Party and the Labor Party. The National Party announced their education policy. Did they announce it to a bunch of teachers or parents or anything? No, it was in a closed room with a room full of suits of business people, a small exclusive audience, businessmen lined up to give the necessary approval, and they simply didn't have the organisation or the willingness of the community to come and listen to what they had to say about education. The contrast with Labor was nearly 70 people in West Auckland, in a West Auckland school, in an area that's going to be a Labor seat in the next election, and enthusiastic people who received our policy in great spirits and with great enthusiasm and determination to make it happen. Absolutely. And what we saw there was absolute unity around Labor's project to rebuild a country that's based on values that work, where a full day's work will cover the basics, where there will be more jobs available and wages will catch up with prices, where New Zealanders will pay what is fair, whether it's in their power bill, their tax bill or their grocery bill, and every child, Mr Speaker, in this country will have what they need to start life healthy, start learning early and fulfil every bit of their potential. Kiwis listening to the Prime Minister's statement would have wanted to and will hope to hear an inspirational speech from the Prime Minister of our country, something that would lift their spirits and give them hope of a better year ahead, where the gap between the have and the have-nots are addressed, where future generations and our kids are invested in, and a commitment to return to the things that matter: a decent job, a home, a fair wage and security. But National has stopped listening to Kiwis, if in fact it ever did. The PM's speech and those followed by government speakers demonstrate what we on this side have been hearing ad nauseum, that National only seem to care about themselves and their mates. The list of rehashed promises, targets, objectives, 10-point plans and task forces in the Prime Minister's statement will have given no comfort to those looking to see some change in the years of hardship that they and their families have faced under this government. It will be of no comfort to those who are still facing job losses, or those who are still unable to find a job, to those who can't afford to study, those who work 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet, those who get up early in the morning and travel across cities on several buses they can't afford to get a job where they're paid minimum wage. There's no hope in the Prime Minister's speech for the growing contingent labour market, where all the risks are being taken by the workers through short-term, dead-end contracts with no job security, no rights and no fairness. There's nothing in the speech for our small businesses. There's nothing they can look to, as the government seems to concentrate all its money and power on the big end of town. That's right. And this is a government that is simply derisive and contemptuous, I believe, of those who struggle. They don't seem to believe that raising a child is valuable work and deserves the support of government and society. Labor's plans to support Kiwi mums and dads with Best Start has sent them into a panic. And that's why we're hearing the attacks, because they know Labor's package is very popular and being welcomed up and down the country. May I tell you, Mr Speaker, that on the doorsteps of the North Shore, where Labor members have been door knocking, everyone's talking about it. On the North Shore, yes, the North Shore, the suburbs of Glenfield, where Paula Bennett, that Westie turned Upper Harbour advocate, will be campaigning this year. On the North Shore, where families are saying to Labor, we love Best Start, where the Conservative Party, the members Colin Craig and Christine Rankin, those great stalwarts for families, are relying on National to give them a free ticket to Parliament so they can achieve what? The right to whack kids. That's what they're going to do. Now, what kind of hope is that, Mr Speaker? Best Start is a popular policy, so National has resorted to personal attacks. Paula Bennett did it again today. Good luck to her on the doorsteps of families in Massey and Upper Harbour across who support Labor's policy. And I do hope she shows them a little bit more respect than we heard in the House today with her crocodile tears. We're expecting more personal attacks from John Key this year because this is a government that's propped up by one-man bands and has-been ministers who are getting more than their due because the truth is, without them, this government would fall. It's a government that's out of ideas and has nothing in the tank, no ideas in the tank, nothing in the tank but dirty tricks, spin and deceit, and we're going to hear a lot more about it. So what's our PM talking about today? There was criticism from the Honourable Michael Woodhouse about Trevor Mallard talking about the flags. Well, guess who else is talking about flags today? The Prime Minister. The Prime Minister. Is he talking about inequality? No. Is he talking about job insecurity? No. Is he talking about people still losing their jobs or looking for work? No. Is he talking about children? No. Is it even talking about education? Of course he's not. He's talking about the flag. It's a sideshow issue from the government at the time that they're feeling the pressure because they're doing nothing for struggling Kiwis. Frankly, Mr Speaker, I think Kiwis are more interested in changing the government than changing the flag, and we'll be helping them do that. Yesterday, Bill English generously decreed that workers should be getting pay increases. He hedged on that statement today in the House, and I think he's probably had a phone call from the Employers and Manufacturers Association. They put a media release saying they shouldn't listen to Bill English when he tells them, that's right. And I'm a bit disappointed because for a little while I thought he had a change of heart and he really thought that workers should get a return on the contributions and sacrifices they've made during the economic downturn. If he was serious about this, of course, he would be telling John Key and Simon Bridges to strengthen the legal mechanisms to make that happen, where in fact what they're doing is weakening them. And who can take him seriously when what he is doing is changing the law to make it harder for workers to negotiate their rights and ignoring the advice of their own officials that said their legislation will actually drive down pay, will cut pay. So who can possibly believe that? However, Simon Bridges has an opportunity to follow Bill English's lead with the minimum wage coming up. The decision will be any time soon. It's time for a minimum wage. Under this government, time for a minimum wage of $15 an hour. Come on, Simon, you can do it. You can do it. Under this government, the minimum wage has declined in real terms by 5 cents an hour. Since this government declined in real terms since 2009, it's been cut for workers under 20 for the first time this century. And that message to our struggling young people is that they're so hopeless, they don't deserve to be paid what they're worth. So, Simon Bridges, show some leadership. The up-and-coming minister, follow Bill English's advice when he sets the 2014 minimum wage for our poorest working New Zealanders over the next 2 weeks. I know the Minister is very occupied with forestry at the moment. He's had to back down on his insistence that the approved code of practice, the pathetic approved code of practice, would just had to be bedded in and it would prove to have all the answers. And he must have been gutted when Judith Collins undermined his endeavours in health and safety when she went out and contemptuously attacked the only free health and safety training available available to workplace health and safety systems and announce the removal of the funding. So what I'm asking the Minister to do is to stand up to Judith Collins, to follow Bill English's lead, to give some hope to New Zealanders, bring in a $15 minimum wage when he makes the decision in the next couple of weeks.
Sorry.
Apologise to the member. Mr Speaker, I'm advised that the next Green call is a split call and that the first half will be taken by Dr Kennedy Graham, but the other member is not yet in the House. So I seek leave from the House for the Green call to resume with the second speaker after the following Labor call. I know it's a little unusual, but I have spoken to all the opposition parties who are affected by this. I thank them for their cooperation.
Leave is sought for that purpose. Is there anyone opposed to that course of action? There appears not. So we have a 5-minute Green call, a 10-minute Labor call, a 5-minute Green call. Dr Kennedy.